Suppose you have a rig and you want to use two systems in a rig, an IK and FK. This tutorial is for you. Hey, what's up? I'm KBFX from the CG blog. Today we'll create a switch for an IK and FK. Without further ado, so let's start it. Okay, I already prepared my OBJ file, our mesh, and we want to create a rig with that. So I'll add an armature by Shift A and add an armature. Okay, I'll press free to switch to side view. And for this bone, I'll align. I'll change to the edit mode. I will align to the world origin. And I can rename this bone as a global, and this bone will not be, I'll write global control, and this bone will be non-deformed, so I'll switch off the deform, and I'll change to the front view by press 1 and Shift A, add an armature. Okay, I'm adding an armature. I'll align this. My armature will be our spine rig. I'll use one bone. It's just the way I want to show you how to create an AK and FK switch. And I'll use one arm. So I'll use one arm to create an AK and FK switch. So this is just only to show you how to create that switch. I'll name that bone as a shoulder.def.l. This will be the form bones. I will extrude by press E and extrude. This bone I will call that an upper. To rename this upper arm.def.l. Okay, and I will extrude this bone. I can write as lower arm. Can name lower arm .def.l, and I'll extrude my hand. Can name this as hand arm .def.l. Okay, we already could create the deform bones. I will try to align those bones to my mesh. I select it and I try to align it for both views. I can change to the side view by press 3. Now tap 3. Okay. I had my span. I alt H to return back to the view, and I'll pull in so as I can line with my mesh, my bone mesh. Okay. So we already created our deformation bones, as you can see. So now I want to shift that bones to another layer, that's global. I press M, and those bones are on layer number 1. That's the deformation bones. And make sure that I want to turn on axis to see the bones axis. So I can calculate my bones by follow the axis. I want to have both the same axis. I press Shift N and I select to the active. I'll start selecting the spine one and the next global one. So I can select both bones to the lastly and press active. So the bones will have the same axis to all those bones. Okay, now it's time for creation of an FK bones. Okay, I've selected my body and the bones. We press Ctrl P for parenting those bones to the mesh. So we already bind our mesh with our deformer bones. Okay, you see that when I rotate it follow along with the body. So don't worry about those shapes being suffering from the weight painting. We will not do the weight painting there. Maybe another tutorial I'll do weight painting. But now is the only we want to create the switches for 216. Okay, I'll pick these bones and try to create the FK system. I can select those bones and then Shift D to duplicate the bones, and I press M and I'm moving another layer. Okay, I can rename my bones there and I'll check non-deform. Those bones are controls, so they are not deformed bones. So I will uncheck the deformation and write the upper arm dot FK dot L, lower arm dot FK dot L, and head arm dot FK dot L. Okay, we'll make sure that a non-deformed bone. Okay, I can select those bones. So Shift D, duplicate, and I move to another layer, these bones. Yeah, so we'll create an IK for this bone. Okay. Press 3 for side view and extrude E for extrude these bones. One will be a target. I click Alt P for clear parents and I check deformations. And this I'll check deformation and Alt P for clear parents. I will name this handle IK handle dot FK. Okay, nice. And IK dot L. Yeah. I'll check for this one. I can rename target dot L. Okay. Now I can switch from the edit mode to the pose mode, where we can constrain to have an IK. So I'll press Shift I to add Inverse kinematics constraint. So I can go to the constraint tab there, and I can select ball target as my armature, and for the ball, hand target .L. So you can see my mesh is done because it has no influence, zero influence. So I can have a tool chain. I'll start from those two bones of arm, and for the pole I will select 90 degree to follow that's the angle of the arm. Okay, you can see we have already created our inverse kinematics for the arm. I'll come to the bones properties and I'll select my deformer bones. And for the FK bones, I want the deformer bones to constrain with the FK system. So I will constrain with the copy rotation. So I'll then select the deformer bones and add a constraint, copy rotation, where I will select the armature as my target. And for the bone, I'll select the upper arm.fk.l, and the target will be local space. Okay, you can see when I rotate, it fall along. It will fall along because of that constraint. Where FK will use as a control for this bone. Another bone is not constrained, so it has no deformation of the bone, has no control of that. So I'll turn to the deformation bone, where I'll add another constraint, copy rotation. I'll target as an armature, bone as a lower arm, .fk, and for the target local. And likewise, really use the same principle as the copy rotation, armature, hand, .fk.l, and our target will be local space. Okay. So in our deformer bones, we have constrained with the FK system. So you can see when I come to the FK system, I can control my mesh because we constrain with that. Okay, let's again try to constrain with an IK system. So one arm will have two systems, so we can do as we did in our FK system. I forgot to name those bones we have duplicated, so I'll write this hand ik.l. Okay, when I change to the pose mode, I'll select the deformer bones and add a constraint. That first constraint was the FK system, so I can rename those and add another copy rotation for IK. I'll select armature, and for the bone I'll select upper IK. Oh, we forgot to rename those bones. So I'll come back and rename for the IK system. So I can rename upper arm .ik instead of FK. Okay, for the lower arm I'll do the same. Lower arm .ik.l. Okay, we come to the pose mode and turn to the deformer bones where we constrain our IK, and you can select that to lower. That's upper arm.ik.l, and we'll turn to local space. Likewise, we repeat that process to other bones. So you can name that IK. We repeat the process. So I'll add a copy rotation. Target will be armature, and the bone will be lower arm.ik.l. Target's local space, local space. We can repeat likewise to that bone. target armature, bone handler, IK, target lower, local space, you can name that FK for the one constraint, and IK for another constraint. FK followed by IK. So you can see we have for deformation rules we have two systems. So now is the time for create and switch. So we can operate individual system without interfering each other. So I can select my IK system there. I will use an IK handler to create the custom properties. So I can create new properties for the wheel. I'll toggle their wheel and rename it IKFK -FK. That will be our switch of our system, and I'll change the default value to 0.0. Where I want to do when it is 0, let's change it to be an FK, and when it is 1, it will be our IK. Okay, you can select your handler, tab N to see your property there, and copy as a new driver. We want that driver that switch to control both system of IK and FK, that bone, the former bone. So I'll select the form bone and go to the constraint, and I copy that drivers and paste that driver. So paste that driver for all those bones. We'll repeat the process by pasting the drivers. Okay, that's nice. You can see in our drivers we have one influence. So our system may be confused to choose which property we want to use in the system. So we'll edit the driver and script our driver there. We want when one system is 0, the another system is 1, and one system is 1, another system is 0. So just imagine when you have one will be 0, when you minus the system, when it is 1, you minus by 1, you get 0, and when you have a 0, you minus by 1, you get a negative 1. So we'll minus our IK and FK by 1, but the result we want absolute value. So you can write the expression absolute and turn the open brackets. We have IK and FK minus 1 for the system, and the influence change to 0. So you can see that we have a system of 0. So you can paste in one system, that will be our FK when it is 0. So our FK will be 0 when you operate in the system, and the IK will be at 1. So you can come to your properties, custom properties. You see, we already created our switch. Our system changes accordingly, and this is what we want to create. So you can see when it is 0, I can come to my FK system. When I turn to IK, it will not react to our bad mesh. So when I come to FK bone layers, I can control and manipulate our system. That is what we wanted. Okay, continue for our tutorials in the CG. Don't forget to subscribe and comment and give a like. Until next tutorial, ciao.